And welcome to the video. For this video, I've got all my data together for the 6.7 Cummins fuel mileage. This is for the 2009 Dodge Ram 2500. And with the truck no longer with us, I thought I'd do a video to wrap up all the fuel mileage data we collected through the years. And we've got a lot here, and there's a lot of interesting things to look at. We've got, towing tanks, we have fuel additives, we have fuel brands, and I've got data for all the years going back to when we first bought the truck in March of 2019. And at some point the truck was deleted, and you can even see when that transition happened, somewhere here around July of 2020. Yep, 15s and 14s, all of a sudden 18s, 17s. So very interesting. The truck just picked up some fuel mileage in recent years. As you come up here, you'll see, more 19s and high 18s. So it's done really well over time. And it's been highway driven very much, 95% for the most part. There's just a few 10s in here, and that's it. So let's get into the data points. I did some calculations, and I think y'all will find it interesting. The data is not quite as robust and consistent as my 5.9 data is, but I think it's worth showing off this data. So the all-time average, all things considered, no matter what, is 17.5. Then we've got our deleted versus stock non-towing fuel mileage. And I did put a video out on this subject probably 2 or 3 years ago, and the result was not quite as significant as it is now. I did mention the truck had been trending higher in fuel mileage lately, and that definitely helped the deleted average go up since I released that video. Back then, it was about 1.5 gallon differential. Now you can see it's almost 2.5 miles a gallon differential. So this is on a heavily highway-driven truck. A city-driven truck would definitely see better than 2.5 mpgs, probably more like 3, 4, 5. And then on the towing front, I only took tanks where the towing mileage was dominant. There was more towing miles than non-towing miles. So we had 4 tanks here on the deleted front at 14.9. Tremendously consistent. I mean, it was the same trip each time with the same truck and trailer, but all of the tanks were within 0.2 miles a gallon of each other. It was incredible. I did a run back in June, didn't run a video on it, but literally 0.1 miles a gallon difference than the video test that we did back in October. So super impressed with the data that came out of this. And on the stock front, we had 2 tanks for 14.4. So only about 0.5 mile a gallon change, though, when towing versus when not towing is 2.5 miles a gallon. So much less difference. The truck didn't really care as much when it was towing. And this was with my gooseneck horse trailer each time. And then down here, we've got summer versus winter. So summer I defined as June, July, August. Winter I defined as December, January, February. And just wanted to see, what the difference in fuel mileage was during the hottest months and the coolest months of the year. Now, it doesn't get very cold where I live, but it's still a difference. I mean, you're looking at 90-degree days in the summer. You're looking at 60-degree days in the winter. There's still some difference, and it can get cold in the winter. We can get frost. We can be, cold and high idling in the morning and stuff like that. So that can happen. It's not the norm. But you think you would see something in the data regarding that. My 5.9 Cummins, definitely you see something. It's about 1 mile a gallon difference between summer and winter. The 6.7, only a couple tenths of a mile a gallon less in the winter. Very impressed that this truck didn't really care about colder temperatures. I would have included all the data, but we had a huge summer trip in the truck when it was all stock, and it would have skewed this number even lower. It probably would have actually made it lower than the winter, which would have just not made any sense at all. So I'm like, we'll keep it apples to apples here and just include the deleted miles. Now over here on the additives, we're going to have to zoom out a little bit. So a few additives were run when the truck was all stock, notably the EDT from Hot Shots. Had really good results with this, but if I would have included the number, it would have been about 17-ish or so, and that just wouldn't have been fair. It had 6 tanks with it. It did increase or decrease our regens, increase the regen intervals. And so very positive results with Hot Shots when tested on a stock truck. And these other ones, just one tank also while stock. Can't really judge much from one tank, so I didn't think I should compare them to the others. Meanwhile, there's some skewing going on here. You can see Schaefer's is kind of low. A lot of tanks, 18 tanks with it, ran it back in 2021, 2022. But the truck had trended higher in fuel mileage in recent years, and so this year we ran Howes for 4 tanks and got 19.2. Ran Diesel Clean right before that and got over 19. So good results for sure, but hard to compare when Schaefer's had not been run in recent years. I had very good results with Schaefer's on the 5.9 Cummins, and that's why I definitely want to point it out. It's not quite, I wish I would have some more recent data to mix in on this one. And then on the brands, so the brand's kind of the same situation going on. I've always said the brand doesn't matter that much. It's really more about the station. Do you have fresh fuel? Diesel is much more similar from one station to the next than gasoline. Gasoline, the brands have their own proprietary additives. Diesel can be very similar regardless of the brand. So I still keep track of the brands anyways. And a good comparison to make is Exxon versus Clark's here. So Clark's is like a local gas station. Exxon, the station that I used to fill up at a lot, it rebranded into Clark's. So that for the most part, this is the same station. It's just Exxon with the older data, less fuel mileage. Clark's with the newer data. Now, perhaps they changed their fuel supplier, but it was the same place for the most part here. And then some of the others like Chevron with mostly older data, not as high numbers. Chevron fared well in my 5.9 data when I would fill up there more consistently over time. Racetrack, big numbers here, 19 tanks, mostly older data as well. But I did work in a few more recent tanks, but still not enough to raise the number up. So I don't like how the truck trended in fuel mileage over time. It literally picked up about 3/4 of a mile a gallon as time went on, and it made my data not as good. The 5.9 data is a lot more robust, a lot more, just better. But I still wanted to put everything together and share it for y'all. There's a lot of other interesting things you can see. So just to show the trend, you can see 2021, we were tuned in everything back then. And there's some 17s, 16s, and 18s all over here. And then you get more recent. We've even seen 20 miles a gallon before. Weren't even running a fuel additive, that tank. And then just 19s all over the place. And even in the winter, like last winter here with 19s. So very impressive with the recent fuel mileage. And then the fuel price, that's a fun one to look at too. We've seen some highs and lows. I mean, $5.15 a gallon right here back in 2022. And then go back to 2020, $1.73 a gallon is quite something. I think I actually saw $1.59 a gallon at the bottom of the fuel prices back in 2020 on diesel. It's crazy. Don't think we'll ever see the ones again. I was actually surprised to ever see twos again. We did come down into the twos here locally back in the spring and summer. But anyways, that's it for the data. Just wanted to get that one out for y'all. If y'all are still watching, I appreciate you, and we'll catch y'all in the next video.